Coming up next, why potential employers are ghosting you, and then special guest, Ramsey Solutions Director of Recruiting, Jeremy Heslop, joins me live in studio. And of course, we're going to take your calls. Happy New Year. It starts right now. All right, welcome to the Ken Coleman Show, where we help you win at work and in life. Because if you're not winning in both of those areas, I'm telling you, you're eventually losing in both of those areas. 844-747-2577, 844-747-2577. Hope you had a wonderful holiday season and you're ready to go. You're ready to get on purpose, maybe for the very first time in your professional life. We're going to walk the journey with you. Whatever the problem is, I promise you, either I've walked through it or I've helped somebody walk through it, and there is help, there is hope, and the sun is going to shine on the other side. So excited to have you with us. Let's dive right into this. The yuck of ghosting. Now, we need to kind of frame this for some of you that are in your 40s and older. And don't get your feelings hurt. I'm there. What is ghosting? If you're not familiar with ghosting, it's this idea that you don't return someone's call or emails. Maybe even a text. We could add texting to that as well. And we've seen a lot of ghosting increase over the last year to 2 years, certainly with the onset of the pandemic. And ghosting happens on both sides of the aisle. For instance, a candidate could say, yep, I'm going to come in for the interview and not show up at all. And literally not even send any email at all. The potential employer sitting there waiting on the candidate that don't show up. That is ghosting. We've seen ghosting with people quitting. It's a normal day. Starting time's at 8:30. Larry doesn't show up. Where's Larry? I don't know. Let's call Larry and check in on Larry. Can't get a hold of Larry. You know why we can't get a hold of Larry? Larry's fine. Larry started a new job somewhere else. That's ghosting. And now ghosting, and this isn't new, but ghosting is also applying to employers or potential employers. You apply for a job. They say, we're interested. You start the process somewhere along the way, they drop you. And they don't return any correspondence at all. That is another form of ghosting. All right? So let's talk about the emotions, because this is real. I think there are three basic emotions. You're either anxious because you're not getting any kind of feedback or correspondence, and you're starting to get worried. Am I going to be able to get the gig that I need to get? Another emotion is you're just straight up afraid. After getting ghosted enough, here's what happens. We humans, we can't help this. We begin to internalize the rejection, because let's just be very clear. We're having some fun here talking about the current terms, but when you get ghosted, here's the real feeling. You get rejected. That's just what it is. Whether it's personal or not, it's personal. They're not trying to hurt your feelings. But it goes back to elementary school when we wrote the little notes. Do you like me? Check the box. Yes, no, or maybe, right? There's a sense of rejection. And so that turns into fear. I'm not good enough. I'm not going to get something. And then the other emotion is just straight up discouragement. You're defeated. I mean, you hear no or nothing enough. That's enough to make anybody want to withdraw from the race. So I want to cover those emotions, because if this is happening to you and you are experiencing those emotions, I want you to hear me say, A, that's normal. B, you have to embrace these emotions. Go, this is really what I'm feeling. And as a result, those feelings are generating thoughts, and those thoughts are creating realities that aren't true. But if I walk around all day long thinking I'm a failure, I'm a loser, I'm a reject, nobody wants me, nobody will hire me, those absurdities skating around in our brain enough become realities. All right, now let's move on. Let's just put some real numbers on this ghosting. Now, we're talking about employers ghosting you, the people. Because remember, I am a man of the people. Let's not forget I'm a man of the people. I'm out here for you. All right. This is going to give you some context to encourage you a little bit about all this ghosting. The average corporate job opening gets, ready for this, 250 resumes. 250. The average applicant will apply to 27 companies before landing an interview. Wow. I mean, that's a whole pot of rejection right there. That's not like a bowl. That's a pot. And so we need to understand this going in. One more piece of data to give you some context. It takes the average person 24 weeks to go through the hiring and interview process and find a job. 24 weeks. Okay? So for those of you that can't count and aren't good at math, it's 6 months. So the reason I give you that data is not to further discourage you. It's in fact for you to go, okay, this is the process. Now, those numbers are driven by the amount of applicants, and now companies are moving more and more towards technology. I don't know that you can apply anywhere that's serious and not go through some online application process, and they're trying to use artificial intelligence, and they're trying to find the perfect person and keywords and all these things, to the point that millions of people, listen to me, millions of people every year are getting completely ignored. Not on purpose. I'm not making corporate America and hiring people the bad guys. They're not. This is a function of technology, efficiency, the pandemic, and all of the things that were thrown off by that. And then the sheer amount of applicants. Because watch this. It's never been easier, ever. It's never, ever, ever been easier to apply than it is now. And people just think that activity amounts to, I'm just going to fire a bunch of resumes out, hit go, and see what happens. You might as well spit into the wind, see how that goes. So that's part of what's going on. You got to get connected with the relationships. I wrote an entire book on this, the proximity principle. Get connected, get connected, get connected. Relationships and acquaintances are where most job opportunities come from. Make sure you use my resume guide to actually get your resume noticed. KenColeman.com. It's free. Flip the resume. It looks different than any other resume. It's going to get noticed. But I got to show you some images really quick. The team pulled together some images. Get creative. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Here's a young man that delivered a box of donuts. Now look at this. There he is in the elevator. He's ready to go, and this is what he turns in. Most resumes end up in the trash. Mine, in your belly. Now, that's creative, because here's the deal. You deliver your resume inside a box of donuts, and you get a message like that, people just respect it. They're going to look at your resume. Here's another one. Another guy bought a Google ad with a prospective employer's name, and the ad reads, "Googling yourself is a lot of fun. Hiring me is fun too." That's great. That's very creative. Show some effort. One more real quick. A woman decorated a house with a resume for Christmas. My wish, HR job. Liz Hickok, LinkedIn. How about that? Get creative. Stand out so that you can get in and step up. Don't go anywhere. More of the Ken Coleman Show coming right up. You were created to fill a unique role in this world, but figuring out what that is can feel overwhelming. That's why we created the Get Clear Career Assessment. In less than 15 minutes, you'll get customized results that clarify and verify what you do best, the work you love, and the results you want to produce. You'll even get a list of professional possibilities to help you jumpstart the job search. To get started, go to kencoleman.com/assessment. Thrilled to have you with us today as we help you win at work and in life. Watch this. If you're miserable or just bored or just complacent at work, that is going to begin to trickle down into your personal life. You can't separate these. And don't forget, You were created to contribute through your work. You weren't created to get a paycheck. Paychecks are great. We want to get you a big fat one. We'll help you do it. We got a track record of doing that. Well, we want you to experience tremendous meaning as well in your work, and that is going to trickle into every area of your life. 844-747-2577 is the number. 844-747-2577. All right, let's get to our job tip of the day. Joe, can we hit that? Do we have that? Here we go. Question came in from our Ken Coleman Facebook community. Thomas says, Ken, is it still the thing to do to wear a suit and tie to the job interview? I love the question. Here's the deal. It's not the thing to do anytime, anywhere. If people wear suits and ties at the place that you're applying to, wear a suit and tie. But if it, like Ramsey Solutions, nobody wears a suit and tie, and you roll in a suit and tie, it's not that there's anything wrong with that. It just makes you susceptible to people going, this dude's trying too hard. I think you dress exactly like the people dress in the building, to the point that no one could identify you as a potential employee. They see you as somebody who's already in the building. Dress like those that are in the building. When in Rome is the strategy. But I do love a good suit and tie. Fun stuff there on our job tip of the day. 844-747-2577, 844-747-2577. Let's get to the phones where we help you, the people. Michelle joins us in St. Louis, Missouri. Michelle, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hey, thanks so much for giving me this opportunity. I really appreciate it.
You bet. What's going on, Michelle?
So I'm really looking for a career change, as I'm sure so many other people are. I've been in my line of business, which is basically social services, I guess you could say, for about 12 years now.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I went to school for. I actually really loved it up until probably the last year, I'd say. Really just kind of want to branch out, do something different.
Yeah,
but I have no clarity. Like, that's where I'm stuck. Like, like, I have researched and everything, and I have read, and I have participated in different programs. I just, I have so many ideas, but nothing comes foolproof.
Okay, great. So let's revise your statement. Instead of "I have no clarity," I want you to say, "I have some clarity, but not enough." Say that.
Yeah, I would say that. I have some clarity, but not enough.
Great. So now let's take these ideas and let's explore these ideas. Because if someone's got ideas, what I think I'm hearing is, I've got some ideas. I've identified some potential mountaintops, Ken, that I'd like to climb, but I'm not quite sure which one to choose and then how I'd climb it. Does that sound closer to home?
Absolutely.
All right, let's talk about those ideas. Give me the top 2 or 3. I don't want 7, because I think there's a theme running between 7 or 8 or 9 or 10. So really, what are the big themes here in these ideas?
So what I'd really like to do is I want to be my own boss. I don't want to do the rat race. I don't want to do the 9 to 5. So I've looked into like online possibilities.
Okay.
But
doing
that
what?
being said, blogging, virtual assistants, writing, just being a freelance writer, podcasting. I mean, just numerous things.
Okay. So let's
just so I can be my own boss.
I get it. So we've got a couple of interesting ideas there. And I think you can do both and. I think you could start a podcast, you could start blogging, regardless of who you're working for or where you're working. You don't need to limit yourself to that, to where you have to pay yourself to do that. You can start that now. In fact, I would tell you the best chance of you paying yourself to produce a podcast or write a blog is to start now. So
I just don't know what to do it about. That's my thing.
All right, we'll get there. We'll get there. But we know that's what you want to do. So what we've got to first do is take away all the fear. So there's nothing stopping you from starting a podcast tonight or a blog. Nothing. Now, we'll get to that in a second, but there's nothing stopping you. All right? And it's going to take time to be able to pay yourself from those endeavors. True or false?
True.
So now is the time to start. True or false?
Absolutely true.
Okay, great. Now, you mentioned 2 legitimate jobs that I heard. 1 was virtual assistant, and 2 was writing. Are you qualified to do either of those right now for somebody? If I had a friend that needed either one of those, and could I, in good conscience, say Michelle is qualified? She can start doing that today.
So I self-published a book already on Amazon, and a few people have bought it. I consider myself to be a good writer. People have told me that.
What kind of writing would you do for a paycheck right now? Not dream stuff, but just for a paycheck.
Almost anything.
Copywriting? Creative writing?
I've looked into that. I really like nonfiction.
Okay, what was your book about?
So I was a case manager in the city of St. Louis dealing with at-risk youth. And so I basically just wrote a book about all the stories of the families that I dealt with, all their struggles, all their obstacles, all their, sorrow and everything that they had trying to get help for their children in the system not working.
Okay.
So it was basically a book on system failure.
Okay, great. So at the time, that was a big area of passion for you. That's what you were doing full time.
Yes.
I did not hear staying in that social work and again, let's get outside of the traditional social worker context. Let's just think about the type of work. I didn't hear that come out in your list of ideas. Is that true? It's not there? Okay, good. So I wouldn't be
opposed to it.
I understand, but
because it's something I know.
Yeah, but that's not why you called me. You called me because you're like, Ken, I need something new, and I don't know what it is, and you do. Because I think ultimately you want to get to a place where you're podcasting and writing. So what are you podcasting and writing about? Tell me now. Go.
Nothing.
That's not true.
My problem.
That's not true. That is not true. What would you do if you knew the podcast would be wildly successful? What would you start podcasting about today? What would you talk about?
Two things. It would be probably two things.
Oh, well, that was easy enough. What are the two things?
One, music.
Okay.
Just talking about music in general because I love music and I'm good at identifying music. The other one would probably still be somewhere within like juvenile justice.
Yeah. Where does that come from? Where does this focus and this interest in juvenile justice come from?
Well, it's what I know. It's what I've done for so long.
Yeah, but you're not going deep enough for me. Where does that come from personally? This isn't an idea.
Well, because I like to help people.
Why do you like to help people?
Why does everybody like to help people? It's like everybody.
No, you are
it
just.
Makes you feel good.
Yeah, no. You are just giving me. You might as well run for Congress the way you're answering these questions.
That's what my boyfriend says. Yeah, go. You should be running for Congress. Totally.
I know. You're not answering the question. I'm going to give you one more shot. I want you to answer deeply from your heart. What from your past, whether you experienced something or you saw somebody else experience something, what draws you to those kids specifically?
Because I want them to have a chance. You know what I mean? I see that there's opportunity for them, and sometimes I see them not have that opportunity. And my success stories mean so much to me when I have given those kids those opportunities.
Yeah, but something draws you to those kids, something from your own life, something from your own experience, and you need to understand that. Because if you're going to write, you better write stuff that moves your heart. And you wrote something that moved your heart. So any writing and podcasting and things like that nature, I think it ought to be something that moves your heart. Now, start writing, start podcasting tonight. Just start putting content out. As far as the job situation, if you want to work for yourself, you need something like that, executive assistance that's virtual. You can work in your own time. There's some great companies out there that are hiring people nonstop. And if you're organized and you can do that kind of work, you like checking the box and stuff like that, go do that. And get yourself stable in a situation where you're running your own schedule or you got your lifestyle where you want. And that's going to free you up to be creative, to start creating the podcast or creating the writing content that moves your heart. Write and broadcast what moves you. What problem do you want to solve? What solution do you want to bring to that problem? You answer those questions, now you got all your content. This is the Ken Coleman Show.
We were drawn to Christian Healthcare Ministries because we both had young families and we wanted to have more children. And we had also just started a real estate company and needed to find healthcare coverage that would meet our needs. We were attracted to CHM because of its low monthly costs and the ability to negotiate medical costs down.
Established in 1981 and accredited by the Better Business Bureau, CHM is here to meet the needs of your growing family or small business. Check us out at chministries.org.
We absolutely believe in it.
Welcome back to the Ken Coleman Show, where we help you win at work and at life. 844-747-2577 is the phone number. Okay, folks, I was on Fox Business News early this morning. Mornings with Maria had me back, and they're talking about all this stuff before I even got on the air, and just nonstop. People leaving. They had me on today to talk about CEOs. 72% of CEOs are fearful for their own job. One of the reasons is the musical chairs. The amount of people that have left their jobs. As we looked at August, September to October, over 12 million people left their jobs for something else. There is an enormous amount of movement, and I don't think it's going to stop. That's one of the reasons why CEOs are scared. So here's the reality. People are moving. Now's the time to move. It is a job seekers market. Companies are paying more. They're offering more outside of pay as it relates to benefits, training, hybrid work models. Companies they're fighting with each other to get you. So this is the reality. And I want you to do this effectively beyond my resume guide. It's free at kencoleman.com. I want you to be using ZipRecruiter. They're the number one hiring site in the United States. Their candidates are 3 times as likely to get hired. Takes you just a few minutes if you go to ZipRecruiter.com/Ken and fill out a profile, upload the resume, and then let them go to work for you. Instead of you sending 25 resumes today and sending out a bunch of LinkedIn messages that are going to get ignored, why don't you let ZipRecruiter work for you? Did I mention that it's free for you? I'm actually pitching you on a free service. The companies are paying ZipRecruiter for your access. You get updates from ZipRecruiter. Every time a company looks at your profile, likes your profile, and asks for your contact info, and they let the company reach out directly to you. It's the easiest way to get hired. ZipRecruiter.com/Ken. Go today. It's free. ZipRecruiter.com/Ken. All right. We got a theme of ghosting today. More details right now in the news. All right, Business Insider headline, mentions of ghosting in Glassdoor interview reviews is up 450% since the start of the pandemic. Glassdoor obviously is a website where, employees and prospective employees go on and they just talk about all kinds of things. People who left companies, they'll rip up companies upside down the other. So I would just tell you, while I'm citing this data, don't start reading all these Glassdoor reviews and just think, oh, this is the truth. My grandpa had some great sayings. And he once said, if you throw a rock in a pack of dogs, the one that comes out barking is the one you hit. And that's a wonderful little phrase to say. You go on these Glassdoor sites and somebody's ripping a company up one sound down. Don't just assume that person is telling you the truth. They may have gotten their butt fired because they're a jerk. And then they're going to go out and they're going to fire a bunch of arrows at the company. That's my disclaimer. But the reality is there's a lot of chatter on these sites. And so here's some data. They're up 450% where prospective employees are saying, I was in the interview process, and then all of a sudden, nothing. Crickets. We talked about this at the start of the show. This is referring to potential employers breaking off contact with a candidate midway through the application process. I am a man of the people, but as a man of the people, I must coach you people. Understand that there's so many people applying. Companies still haven't figured this out yet, how to contact everybody and tell them. And then if they do contact you, you need to be grateful. They're not going to necessarily tell you why. They're just not. They don't have time. So get over yourself. Just get over it. They're not trying to be mean and hurt your feelings. They got stuff to do. It's a not here, not yet. It's not a no. It's not here. Not yet. Please be a big boy and a big girl and put your big boy pants and your big girl pants on and keep on moving. Now, The rise of ghosting during the pandemic is an evident factor of broken hiring. The use of algorithmic screening technology, record numbers of people applying, and Glassdoor even is saying the rise is suggesting that employers haven't adapted their processes to deal with the masses. So there was my opinion, and then there's the data. Get over it. I don't like it on your behalf, but you know what? How many times would you call a girl, guys, and ask her out, and she tell you that she can't because she's washing her hair? I think twice, max. For most of you guys, me, I feel like I'm a little bit clued in. If I call a girl back in the old days, happily married, should point out, and I asked her, you want to go out? And she says no, and she gives me some bogus reason, I'm out. I'm done. Why can't you all get that? You don't keep asking. I mean, come on. Like, it's okay. It's not you, it's them. So I get it. I don't like it on your behalf, but it is what it is. Okay, I want to switch gears for a second. We talk about missional work. We talk about a person being on purpose when they use what they do best, their talent, to do work they love, their passion, to produce results that matter to the mission. And I was looking at social media this morning. I was on my way downtown to do the hit on Mornings with Maria, and I'm in the car. It's dark 30. I'm trying to wake up, and I'm scrolling through Twitter, and I see that one of the trending topics was NICU. And one of my dearest friend's wife is a NICU nurse, so it why is NICU trending? So I clicked on it, and the number one tweet was this. Nathan, can we put this up on the screen? Because I want to read this. Leave this up there. This is a doctor, Jennifer Sedler. It was an overwhelmingly popular tweet. I think it had been retweeted 1,800 times. But I sent this to Alex, the producer. I said, I want to talk about this today because this is what it's all about. I got goosebumps right now. She said, my new favorite hobby, she's a NICU doctor. She says, my new favorite hobby is hyping up my NICU babies to their parents. I list their accomplishments for the day, say how proud I am of them, or highlight how strong they were today. I'm trying not to cry. It's such a joy to see and hear their parents beam with pride. This is the line that gets me, over their tiny fighters. Now that's what this is all about. This is a doctor. And she puts this out on Twitter and it goes bananas. Why? Because all of us can connect to that. She's talking about little itty bitty babies. And can we talk about what's really going on there? You think, well, Ken, she's a doctor. She's trying to help these babies. No, it's way bigger than that. Can you think of a more distraught human being on the planet than a mama and a daddy who can't hug and kiss that little teeny tiny baby who is fighting for its life? Can we talk about that emotion? How scary that is? And this doctor, who's not just worried about the medicine, she's loving on those parents. And she does it by saying, here's what your little guy or gal did today. It's amazing. And the world responds to it because that is purpose. That is mission. That's passion. Loving on those little teeny tiny babies. But the mission, it isn't just medical. It's personal. You're a mama and your daddy, and your little one is in those cocoons, those tents, and you can't see them, you can't touch them, you can't kiss them, you can't love on them, and your greatest fear is staring you in the face all day long. And one doctor who decides to go beyond the medicine and get missional and say, hey, mama, hey, daddy, your little one took 2 extra bites of food or whatever it was, or did this today. Maybe it was an extra poop, right? An extra poop. And it makes mama smile and daddy smile. And for a moment, have more hope than they did the moment before. That's purpose. Bravo, Doc. This is the Ken Coleman Show. Are you wondering if you should leave your current job or stay put? Well, you're not alone. That's why we created the Should I Quit My Job quiz. In just 5 minutes or less, this quiz will help you determine if you're at the right company and if you're in the right role. And if you need to make a move, you'll get practical steps to keep you moving forward. Folks, it's time to get unstuck. Life is too short not to do what you were created to do. Go take the quiz right now at kencoleman.com/quiz. Welcome back to the Ken Coleman Show. Thrilled to have you. This is where we help you win at work and in life. And I am so excited because if you're new to the show and you're not familiar with Ramsey Solutions, or maybe you don't even know who Dave Ramsey is, that's actually a thing. And you're just like, okay, I appreciate the show. You need to know the Ken Coleman Show is a part of Ramsey Solutions, a part of the Ramsey Network. And we have over 1,000 people working here. And a lot of what I teach and learn, I get from the way we do things here. We have a fabulous culture. Are we perfect? No. But are we a healthy culture that cares deeply about people? Absolutely. Are we a place that people want to work? Absolutely. Do we win Best Place to Work? A lot, all the time. Yeah, we do. And so today I'm very excited. Jeremy Heslop joins me. Jeremy's our director of recruiting at Ramsey Solutions. So Jeremy's leading a team of people that are recruiting, trying to go get great people to join our cause. And he joins me here on the Ken Coleman Show. Jeremy, welcome.
Hey, thanks.
Kind
Thanks
of
for having
nice
me.
to walk down the hallway.
Yeah, real close.
Yeah. So your team is literally, if we walk around the corner, 20 yards from here. And so I wanted you in today because this is an important perspective that I think our audience needs to hear. And you're the guy who's trying to recruit talent to come to Ramsey. So you've got a wealth of information. So let's start with, how does somebody get noticed at Ramsey Solutions? When they go through the process, how do they get noticed?
Well, one thing that you touched on earlier is that larger companies these days, it's not just the resume, there's also questions that are asked. There's a applicant tracking system that in some way asks you questions. And so the first things that we're going to look at the recruiting team is we're going to look at the way you answered those questions, and then also look at your resume. I found that in interviewing and hiring people for about 10 years, I've found that very few people are very clear communicators. So whether it's your resume, whether it's the questions that you answer, just actually communicating clearly instantly puts you a step above.
Why is that, do you think?
I think it's because it's a mixture of a few different things. One is sometimes people don't invest the time and energy ahead of time. They think, oh, I just need a job. So they just very quickly fill out something.
So they have nothing to say because they haven't put any thought into it.
Yeah, absolutely. Same with the resume. How often have you heard somebody who's like, oh, yeah, that's right, I need to throw a resume together. Instead of investing, like this should be a day, this should be a summit.
Yeah.
Of putting down all of my experience, my skills, all of those things into something that captures who I am.
Yeah, I love that. Okay. Quickly, we have 4 major areas of focus at Ramsey Solutions. Unpack those for us.
Yeah, what I've noticed here at Ramsey Solutions is that our hiring leaders really are rating and assessing. There's 4 buckets. So the first thing is what you'd think of instantly, which is the actual skill and experience. Okay. We're looking at what have you done, what skill do you offer here. The second thing is that you're going to actually look at the personality. Think of how likable is that person?
You got to spend a lot of time with these people.
Yeah, absolutely. Then here at Ramsey Solutions, we have a very clear mission statement and core values that really has to be aligned to. That's something that, are you going to be excited about hearing Ramsey Solutions provides biblically based common sense, education, and empowerment that give hope to everyone in every walk of life? Do you know that? Is that something you're excited about? Yeah. And then here at Ramsey, we also have very specific money principles that Dave's taught on the radio for 30 years. All 4 of those things build in a picture of how well somebody would be here and join the team.
All right, so let's review this. So we're looking at skill that's obviously related directly to the position. Correct. But then we're going into likability because you know who they're going to be working with. You know who's going to be leading them. So we're looking for likability there. Values. And then finally, money principles. You can't, if you're diametrically opposed to what we teach on money and other things here, that's a real problem.
It's a big problem.
Yeah.
And I think every industry has that. If you're in construction and you could care less about building something, then you don't need to work on that team. I don't care what position it is.
Yeah. And in that process, when people are coming in, they need to be thinking as a candidate, what am I doing in those areas to show, even on the resume or the initial interviews, that I might be a good fit before you've had a chance to even dig deep? Is that true?
Oh, 100%. Yes.
Like, don't wait and hope that I get into interview 2, 3, 4, or 5 and reveal this.
Right.
How can they reveal this on that resume?
Well, first of all, the way you answer the questions show whether or not you
There
know
it
about
is.
the company.
Right.
And if you're thinking about, if I get an interview, then I'll start thinking about that company, then you're not going to get hired.
Yeah.
And that's where I think that a lot of the ghosting on the initial front that you talked about, where I just never got a call, is because there was nothing on your application or nothing about your resume that showed that you even cared to be here.
Yeah. And see, that's a very interesting thing. Jeremy Heslop joins me here. He's Director of Recruiting at Ramsey Solutions, joining me here on the Ken Coleman Show. We're going to do a quick break. When we get back, we're going to dive a little deeper, some of the red flags. But what Jeremy's pointing out right here is you didn't even get noticed. You know what I mean? You're like, the girl's not noticing me. I always take everything back to high school dating, but you got to get noticed.
Right.
And if you put the wrong answers out, not only did you got noticed for the wrong reason, they immediately went, nope, not for me. They're just not that into you. Could be because of your answers. Did you think about that? I don't know. This is the Ken Coleman Show.
You were created to fill a unique role in and through your work. Now, some of you may be going, I have no idea what that is. Some of you may be saying, I know what I want to do, but I don't know how to get there. I felt all of those emotions. I've been where you are, and I can tell you, there's hope. That's why I wrote the book, From Paycheck to Purpose. You can make the income you want and the impact that you desire, and I know that you have what it takes.
Welcome back to the Ken Coleman Show. Jeremy Heslop joins me in studio. He is our Director of Recruiting at Ramsey Solutions, and I wanted you folks to have his perspective. He leads an entire team that are out there looking for the right talent, not just talent, the right talent to sit in the right seat on the bus, and it's really invaluable stuff. If you just joined us here live on YouTube, he talked about 4 areas that we need to see a fit here at Ramsey Solutions: skill, likability, values, and then, of course, do you agree on the money principles? Because most companies that are very serious are going to have a serious set of principles and cultures related to their product and service. So we are offering products and services in this area of money. You got to be on the same page, or else we're all just acting. So really great stuff. So let's keep going. Here we go. I'm going to hit you with a list. You ready to go?
Yep.
This is great advice,
Let's
folks.
hit it.
Here it comes. The best way to prepare for the interview. Now, I got thoughts on this. You've seen my thoughts, but I want to know, if you were coaching everybody listening and watching right now, what would you tell them? Best way to prepare?
Prepare is to actually practice, do a mock interview. Actually think through what is your elevator pitch for why you'd like the position. Be clear on how you're going to communicate about who you are, your experience. Make sure that there's not gaps that are going to leave people confused. I'd actually go through and have someone, a friend, a spouse, someone actually ask you questions. You have 15 common questions that's written out there. They're fantastic. Yeah. You can go through those and practice. How do you answer those? Yeah. In addition to that, I want you to actually take in some time and write out questions that you're going to ask. I've yet to ever be in an interview where the person interviewing doesn't say, well, what questions do you have for me?
All right, so this is where I interrupt. He's absolutely right. 2 things. How to win the interview. It's a free guide at kencoleman.com. It's free. I'm not selling you anything. I don't know what you people are doing. I'm doing the homework for you. How to win the interview, the questions he's talking about. And then I would tell you this. I love that you said this, because as you know, in that free guide, I point out the way to stand out in the interview is the questions that you ask. Mm-hmm. I'll never forget, Jeremy, a couple years ago, a guy was applying to be the marketer for all my stuff here at Ramsey Solutions. And the personality doesn't get involved until way down the road. Right. So he's obviously a solid candidate. And so I'm not making the decision whether or not he or she gets fired unless I have some real red flags. And I had one major red flag. Conversation with this young guy went great. And at the end, I said, well, do you have any questions for me? Keep in mind, folks, I'm creating content. I'm trying to help transform people's lives. It's pretty serious stuff. Yeah. I say to him, do you have any questions for me? He goes, no, I'm good. And I thought to myself, everything in me, Jeremy, to not say, no, actually, you're not good at all. You're terrible. The questions you ask, why does that stand out to you, a recruiter?
Well, one, you tell how serious that person is. Yeah. You can tell what research they've done ahead of time. when I'm interviewing a recruiter to join my team, one of the very first questions I'll just ask right at the very beginning was, what have you found out about me? Because I want to know. I mean, you're a recruiter. You should probably know everything about me, right?
Yeah. What if they don't?
If they don't, then we can just go ahead and shut it down there.
I love that.
Because if you haven't done the basic thing that your job will ask you and require you to do, this is done.
Yeah.
But asking good questions. Ask questions about me. What questions? That's what I'll ask. I'll look and say, hey, you did some research. You looked on LinkedIn. You looked at all the socials. What did you find about me? What questions do you have? I've left a couple things on my LinkedIn or on socials that I know people can see just because you should ask a question about it.
Yeah.
Like it absolutely drives me crazy that person didn't look at you and say, like, where are you headed? What is your vision?
Can you imagine?
I mean, it's
How about, hey, Ken, why do you care so deeply about people working on purpose?
There's
How about
so
that
many
one?
questions.
I would have started with that one.
Yeah, there's so many.
I'm good.
Yeah, absolutely. So think about the questions. Write them out. Does this make sense? What about the job? What does winning look like in this role? How do I know 6 months from now that I would be doing this job and you'd feel like it's a success?
All right. Let's get some quick red flags. And then I asked you to come in with a doozy.
Yeah.
I said, of all the people, you've got to have some doozy stories.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so we're going to get to that shortly. That's going to be entertaining. But quick, red flags. What are some red flags where it's just like that instance, that red flag there? If somebody doesn't do some research on you, you're toast.
Red flags to me, the first one is that they feel so rehearsed and like somebody else told them this is what I'm supposed to say. It's just not a natural, here's how I communicate.
Yeah.
Are they comfortable?
Yeah.
That's something I look at. Now, not everybody is a people person, so I understand that. If
They're nervous. Yeah.
If you're interviewing a developer, they're going to have a little different personality than someone who's going to be in sales.
Right.
So you have to understand that. But if they aren't asking the questions like we talked about, if they haven't thought through good responses, if they don't know themselves, that's probably one of my biggest ones.
Yeah.
Do you know what you want to do?
Right.
And I think we've all interviewed somebody, we've hired someone we had a red flag that we didn't pay attention to. Yeah. And later on we think, they didn't want to do this.
No. And we skip over it because we're so, listen, employers, we get so scared that we're not going to fill the position soon enough that we'll make a bad decision.
And that'll cost you so much more money in the long run.
And time.
Yes.
Time and money. Two biggest time and money costs for companies are bad hires. That's Harvard Business Review. That's not Ken's opinion, but it is my opinion too.
It's the right one.
It's the right one. All right, so let's talk about a doozy. You got a doozy of a story for us?
Yeah.
What you got?
Well, I have a couple different options we can go here.
Oh, I like
I'm going to give you my personal one that is just one that always sticks out to me.
Give me your personal favorite.
Okay. My personal favorite, as I'm sitting down, I actually didn't always lead recruiting. I used to lead sales.
You were leading a team here at Ramsey Solutions.
Yeah, I did that for about 8 years before coming to HR. I was leading a sales team, and at that time I had about 35 different people in sales who were all on the phone. They're high-powered, energetic, and we're a support team as well. And I'm interviewing this guy, and I started sensing something is off. And I finally just looked at him and was like, do you like people? And he looked at me and goes, no. I really don't like people.
Oh my gosh. Okay. The irony there is he's applying for a sales job where he's talking to people all day long.
Yeah, right.
But I love that he was also honest. I don't love that he showed up for that role, but I do love that when confronted, he at least owned it.
Yeah. No, I don't like people. Okay.
What did you do after that?
I was like, well, that's kind of a big deal for me, for this team, for this company. I want people who actually like people. And then we just kind of ended it. I was like,
okay. Good luck with that.
Let's find something different for you. Maybe
you need a job with machines.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right, you got another doozy?
Yeah. So we get a lot on the before, like in the interview process. My recruiting team has this HR phone screen that's the initial one. Those are where we really see a lot of the doozies.
We could probably turn those into a full podcast. Do you know what I'm saying? Like one of those late night shows? Like where Delilah songs are played on the commercial break.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I can't imagine how wacky. The team's out there in the lobby. You guys get some wacky phone interviews, don't you? You feel like, am I on talk radio right now? Is this Howard Stern? It's that kind of stuff?
Is punk still a thing? Yeah.
Okay, give me one. Give me a crazy one.
A crazy one?
Yeah, I need a crazy one.
Okay.
The people want this.
All right. We're talking to a developer. We're really excited about that. As if you've listened to anything of Dave, you know we need developers,
need more
technology.
Developers, yeah.
Pretty much every company out there. All right, so Beth, who's now one of our associate directors of recruiting, she's talking to this person, feeling really good, and all of a sudden the person goes, I'm going to require an office. Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
We're at that stage already.
Okay, and why? And, well, I have a gas problem.
Oh, jeez.
I kid you not. And she thought the person was joking.
Yeah.
And the person was dead serious.
Yeah.
I can't be around people. I have a gas problem.
I have a gas problem.
Yeah.
I wonder if what he ate had anything to do with it.
I don't know, but that was one of those
He's
moments.
not willing to change his diet. He just needs an office so that he can pass gas.
Yeah.
Wow. That was a real phone call.
Oh, yeah. And we have people send us stuff all the time. I did like the donuts thing. That was one that could go one of two ways. It depends on how well you present yourself.
That young man handled it really well.
It was great, yeah. We get a lot of things. That we had once a cardboard cutout about 6 feet tall of the person. Oddly enough, we hired that person because their resume was fantastic. I will say that disappeared very quickly, and none of the that's something that's stuck in
now
HR.
This is interesting. We don't have time to cover this because I got more questions. And I got to tell you, folks, that the person who was on your team that took the gassy developer call, I couldn't help myself. Knowing that it was over, I would stay on the call and go, what foods are, well, we can consider that. What foods cause the most gas? I would feel like I need more information to let this person continue to go on with the absurdity. Jeremy Hessel, we got to get out of here. Great stuff.
Thanks for having me.
RamseySolutions.com. Dave's hiring. If you want to get involved, please take Jeremy's advice and don't tell us about your gas. Nobody wants to know. Hey, I got to get out of here. But before I do, you matter. And you do have what it takes. Thanks for joining us. Until next time, this is the Ken Coleman Show. Press on.
Thanks for listening to the Ken Coleman Show. For more, you can find the show on demand wherever you listen to podcasts and watch the show on YouTube. You can also find Ken across all social media by following @Ken Coleman.